Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. It is 6:02, it looks like, from up here, back there. There is, roll call is Renee O'Donnell, Brian Carlisle, Cindy Grant. We're going to do the new business first. I'll have to wait a minute because Cindy has an audit update for us.
Can you speak up a little bit, Renee?
Yeah,
Really hear you back here.
I will, yep.
Renee, do you want me to get more chairs or not necessarily?
I think everybody's, oh, well, maybe Mark needs a chair. Grab a chair right there, Mark.
Sit right up here. There's more people coming in on this one.
I can still hear the doors. Why don't we just go ahead and accept warrants and stuff like that? Okay, so I'm going to accept the warrants. I make a motion to accept PY warrant number 4 for $2,061.50 and AP warrant number 5 for $18,204.52.
Second.
All in favor? That's done. I would like to give the audit update. Go do that.
She sent me a preliminary draft to go over. There's chairs in the gym if you want to grab chairs. And I went over it, had a couple of questions. She was in Lincoln today and couldn't get back. She didn't have her paperwork. So hopefully she will get back to me tomorrow.
Okay.
And she can address my questions
Okay.
and have another draft if need be. My wish is once I get that draft that you guys could meet so we can try to get it as quick as possible.
Right.
Because we're running out of time.
What did she say about, come right in, you guys. Don't,
Right in today.
come right in. Don't worry about it. Come right in. What did she say about, I mean, was it a lot for her to get the audit done? Did you have a chance to talk to her about?
I haven't talked to her about that. We did speak briefly when she was here about the time constraints that we've asked this year.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions that I did ask her is if we are put under those restraints next year, what her impression is to if it could happen again.
Right.
I haven't got answers to those yet.
Okay. All right.
So, would it be possible if what's today, Tuesday? If she gets to me tomorrow and a final that we could post a meeting for a week from tomorrow?
Sure.
I can let you know for sure. Just to go over the audit, that's all it'll be.
Okay.
To go over the audit. And one of the questions I didn't want to ask is, do you want her here to explain anything, or do you just want to look it over?
If it's possible for her to be here, is it,
I don't know. I haven't asked.
I could do we could do a meeting.
Some don't.
We could do a meeting early in the evening if she could be here.
I would think we'd be better off doing preliminary, looking at the budget, and then develop our questions, and then have her come, perhaps, to answer those questions.
Okay.
I mean, if she's here just for the original review of the thing, I don't think they'll have time to form questions.
Okay. All right.
And do you want a printed version of this draft? She sent the last one via email. Do you want me just to forward the email?
How-
Or do you want me to print it out?
How long is it, do you know?
It's almost 30 pages.
Why don't you forward it? Do you want a card copy?
Either way, I'll have to have a hard copy, but I can do it, so
Yeah.
it's easier. Send
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as soon as I get it.
Well, that's
I'll let
good.
you know.
That's good.
Yep,
That's awesome.
yep.
Okay, that's good news. So, do you all want to sit through the meeting, or did you come for the select board statement on the state of affairs? I'm guessing you don't want to sit through the meeting. There was a letter that went out. I don't know where to begin here. There was a letter that went out, prompted sort of by me, I guess. Brian did a nice job with it. Let me cut to the chase. Long story short, I'm gonna be resigning. I wanted to hand in my resignation. But I'm gonna tell you why I'm handing in my resignation. As you all know, it's hard to sit in this chair. Well, it's hard to sit in this chair. You almost feel assassinated every time you sit in this chair. And the spirit of things here is more of the nature that you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And it's hard to, we're not getting anything accomplished with our departments. Last week we had a good meeting, but we had to address some issues that weren't very popular. And it's hard to, this is the first time we've seen Glenn for a long time. I'm glad to see you, Glenn. We've got some issues coming up with the fire department that have to be addressed. And again, that fire department, we had an article in the town warrant to make the fire department a municipal department. I don't think that would change the way the firefighters do their work. I don't think that would change anything like that. I've said that before. But there's some administrative things that we'd like to tighten up, which is what we just did with the rescue department. I don't know if you are all aware of that. The rescue department was responding to calls in Dixmont. It wasn't in the original article. It wasn't in the mutual aid agreement. It wasn't covered by insurance, all those things. So we took care of that.
It's not taken care of because now we can't have Hamden ambulance out here or Bangor ambulance out here unless they feel really good when we call them. Because we don't do mutual aid with the rescue truck, we don't get mutual aid to the rescue truck.
Well, I think we'll have to accept, that's the first time we've ever heard of it. I'm not going to do a question and answer period. I'm just not going to do a question and answer period right now. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's no communication from you, so there's no communication, period.
I told you,
You know.
leave that mutual aid alone. I had it working and working good.
That mutual aid agreement specifically said it did not cover EMS services, Glenn.
EMS came on afterwards, but I had Hamden and Bangor coming as backup to Capital.
It's too little too late. I mean, I would have loved to have this conversation 2 months ago.
I tried having a conversation, but
This is one
Cindy
of,
knows way more about running a fire department rescue squad than I do.
no, she didn't. I don't really think that's the tone.
Let me make it easy for you. I quit. You have to pass it.
Okay.
Go ahead and run it any way you want.
Are you serious?
Then
I quit.
Accept it this time, don't let him come back.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to sit up here and make decisions so that people I've known for 20 years hate me. That's not why I'm doing. It's not even why we're here. The only reason we're here is because no one else would do the job. I had
Cindy can do it.
I had a conversation with a lady a couple weeks ago who worked for Foster, who was our auditor, our previous auditor, and just happened to run into her and had a whole conversation with her about why can't we get an auditor. well, there's shortage of accountants, all the things that we've been told. The other things she said was, you're always in the news. We've got a real spirit of hatefulness, I guess. I don't know what else to call it. And I just don't know how to get beyond it. And there's no sitting down having a regular conversation with people, which is what you have to do to run a town. Brian made the comment, I don't even know if we can govern ourselves anymore. I just don't even know if we can govern ourselves anymore. And, it's not just that. Last Tuesday night, I had a visitor. I wasn't home. My husband was home. Helen was on my doorstep to talk about your fence. And I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I don't want to be in your kitchen at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night talking about town business, and I don't want you to be in my kitchen at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night talking about town business. And for me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I just am not going to do it anymore. And, this whole postponement of the town meeting is a very serious issue. If Buddy Belcher, and I'll say this flat out, if Buddy Belcher hadn't been diligent about keeping your fund balance up, we would make one more school payment and be just about out of money. We'd close the door. The postponement of the town meeting was just not necessary. I get that people have questions. I get that they want copies of audits and that sort of thing. But I'll also tell you this. In 2011, I think it was, the audit, I'm not doing question and answer, Linda, I'm sorry. The audit came back with 5 recommendations. In 2012, that audit came back with 4 recommendations. In 2013, 2, and in 2014, it was a completely clean audit, no recommendations.
With an award.
With an award, right. There's nothing wrong with your books. I don't believe there's anything wrong with your books. I've worked with her for 2 years, and I think she's one of the best things that's happened to your town office in a long time. But we have such a bad reputation. We can't get an auditor. People don't want to be associated with that. You don't have people sitting in these chairs to run your town. You don't have people, who are you going to get to work in your office? People come in and go off at the help. That's not okay. It's not okay. And it's got to stop somewhere. And I don't know how to make it stop, but I urge the general population to get involved, come to the meetings. We need a cemetery committee, run for my seat. But I just don't know where else to go with this. I'm a person, I don't have an axe to grind. I don't have a hidden agenda. I don't even know how to have a hidden agenda, quite honestly. But I just don't know where else to take you people. We can do the best we can. We were here one morning just having a conversation about the budget items, things that needed to be addressed, because if you've only got X number of dollars to run a town for 4 months and your school payment is $88,000 a month, you're going to be out of money pretty darn quickly. And we were just sitting here talking about that, and something got misconstrued. We were having a meeting when we shouldn't be having a meeting because 2 of us were together. I didn't really know that. It was in my mind, it was a budget workshop, we were simply talking about the budget. So I just don't know where else. I just wanted to say that out loud. I was just trying to help, but I think I'll resign, make sure that the audit gets accepted, and then I will be done. So I just wanted to tell you that.
I would like to make a comment.
Thank you, Mark.
I would like
Thank
to
you, Mark.
make a comment. After the last meeting, did I not talk to both you and Brian and explain to you a little about the mutual aid and ask you if you couldn't figure out something? And tell you that we would
quite simply
lose our mutual aid with these other towns by going ahead and canceling that without at least talking with Glenn Oh, with somebody.
Linda, I have been sitting right here for 4 months, and that's the first time I've seen Glenn since April.
And not-
That's the first time I've seen Glenn since
Would Brian
April.
have given him a call and said,
I shouldn't have to give him a
"Let's
call.
talk
This is his department. This is his department. We have a meeting, sometimes 2 a month.
down in every meeting."
And it's not just about Glenn. I mean, I have great respect for Glenn, but you know what? It's not about Glenn all the time. It's just about administrative things. I mean, truck maintenance logs, inventory logs, insurance forms,
Have you asked
you
us
know.
any of those?
There aren't any, I don't believe there are any.
The logs.
Anyway, it's all water under the bridge, Linda. It doesn't matter. I've been right here for 2 years. And that's the first time I've seen Glenn in 4 months.
I've
So,
been listening to it for 10 years. I've not missed very many of these selectmen's.
this is exactly
meetings.
this is the
2, 3, 4 of us
example.
sitting
You
here.
say, I say, back and forth, and it goes on, and it's just like a little hamster on a wheel. Nothing ever gets done. Nothing ever changes. Nothing ever gets done. I have great respect for these guys. They give of themselves. They do their training. They're firefighters, but there's a certain amount of liability inherent to what they do. And all we're trying to do is address liabilities. About 95% of this is administrative things. It wouldn't change how the firefighters do their job.
Have you ever come up to the fire department and talked to the guys at the group?
Linda, I approached you last meeting, at the end of the meeting, asking you if you thought my suggestion was workable.
Yes. it
Your
would be
answer to me
workable.
was, everybody's quitting. I don't know, and you walked
No,
away from
I
me.
said, if you keep on this one.
No, there was no ifs about it.
We've got, if you want to get together with Dixmont, try to work something out, but.
That
there
was our
no
attempt.
effort. There was no
But-
effort.
That was
to work anything out with Dixmont before all of a sudden Dixmont got a
Well,
letter
because
saying
we
we're done.
can't. First of all, we can't. It's in the warrant that
Right.
that truck had to stay in Newburgh.
Right.
There's the right way and wrong way to do these things.
It's also in the warrant that the department can only serve the residents of Newburgh. So if I roll up on a scene, I need to ask them, are you from Newburgh? I'm sorry, you will have to continue to bleed, continue to have your heart attack.
This is
If you're not-
exactly what I'm talking
No,
about.
but that's what I'm saying.
The wording was not
The wording
correct
is
in the warrant.
incorrect to begin with.
Well, is that our fault?
But you-
Is that our fault that you voted on it in
You have the
2010?
ability to correct it, because the wording also.
You have to go back to the town to correct
No,
it.
actually, we don't, because to vote to authorize the selectmen to organize and maintain a first responder department. It's on the select board.
No, it's not, because the
That
article
is exactly what
specifically
you told
says
me.
Newburgh residents, and that's what the people agreed it
Where
would
is
do.
that?
And
If
you
we
told me
needed
that it was
to
up to
change
the
it,
I had
selectmen
it
board
right
to
here.
make the changes. That's what you
That
told me.
No.
Yes,
Copy
I
it
did.
from last week.
When you handed me that paper, that's what you told me.
People that voted that article in are the only ones that can change it.
This.
Some of the people sitting here and the other ones that were in that room in 2010
No,
when that
that was
article was just
the,
barely passed, based on what I'm told. And in order to change it, the board doesn't have the authority.
Right
It has
here.
to be the
I've got
people. They agreed to let it happen with Newburgh residents only.
So you can't treat somebody in an accident out here on Route 9 if they're not from Newburgh.
That's not our problem. That's what the article said.
But
This
that's
is,
what the article
this
says,
is
and
the
that's what
article
you're saying.
from February of 2010. To s- Really?
I am.
To see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to organize and maintain a first responder department to serve the residents of the town of Newburgh. Okay, so that was that. It said specifically the residents of the town of Newburgh. Here is the copy out of the mutual aid agreement that says, section number 5, article 5, section 5, no emergency medical services are contemplated under the terms of this agreement. That was that. Cindy did not say, okay, you guys got to stop. I think Glenn had a conversation with Alan Soa, who was the assistant Dixmont chief. He wrote a letter to Cindy. Cindy's response, and I can, if you would like to hear the response, anybody? Yes, no? Would like to hear the response. Okay, it said, Dear Mrs. Soa, I know you're probably being told that I'm against the Newburgh Rescue Department responding to EMS calls. Let me assure you this is not the case. I I do understand and sympathize with your situation. Newburgh's daytime coverage is little to none like yours. As most of our EMTs have full-time jobs also, we don't have many more numbers than you do. As far as mutual aid, I do believe that you have a mutual aid with Newburgh Volunteer Fire Department for a long time as part of the Community Mutual Aid Agreement, which specifically says that it does not include EMS services. I am not sure how this came about and do not know the authorizing situation to respond to these calls. I do want to clarify one other thing. Unlike Dixmont Rescue, which is part of your volunteer department, 5 years ago when the town of Newburgh voted to establish the Newburgh Rescue, which is a town department and myself and the select board are responsible and accountable for, the article specifically said to service Newburgh residents, copy included. I did not make these rules, I'm just trying to do my job and uphold the residents, who are the legislative body, wishes. So inclusion, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but Newburgh Rescue cannot at this time respond to EMS calls. That's what her letter said. She did not go up there and tell those guys. The other part is, Cindy called MMA, which is Maine Municipal, who carries our insurances. Is that correct? So they carry our insurances. So she explained the situation. Would we still be covered? And they basically said, no, you would not be covered. If your guys are responding out of town, it's not in your mutual aid agreement, it's not the intention of the original article, then they probably would not be covered. So, and even, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's a liability, not for me, but for all of us. It would be a town thing if something went wrong. So that's the whole backstory behind that. It's just hard to communicate with somebody who doesn't want to communicate.
But my position when this subject came up is, I see an opportunity here that if we could put our heads together and perhaps talk with Dixmont and surrounding communities, maybe Etna, maybe there's a way to get a regional system going which would help our cause.
Right, a regional
Maybe we'll
EMS
yes,
system.
and possibly even the fire department. My feeling is, why not have some dialogue over this and talk about it and see if there's some system that will not have the fire department and EMS so angry at us, and
Right.
and to be able to have some sort of viable program, fire, EMS, something that's better than what we have now.
Did anybody give a call to Glenn and kind of suggest that to him?
What?
Well, why
Glenn
are we
isn't here.
supposed to
I think
call
it is-
Glenn?
As the representative.
Scott.
It was something
Past
that you came
Selectmen
up
in
with?
Newburgh,
Scott, go ahead.
there's no discussion with Glenn when it came to that. I was one of the selectmen that decided we weren't chasing this stuff anymore because we weren't allowed to legally.
Right. That's
There was no, and Glenn's a, God bless his town, I mean, Glenn's a good fire chief.
He just quit.
God bless him that he did. I mean, I don't blame him for what he did, but was a good fire chief. But you have to be politically correct when it comes to things, and when that came about, there was no politically correct. It was we were doing it or we're not doing it, and we weren't doing it.
right.
For the town of Newburgh to be responsible, and you guys all know me, I live in Hampton now, most of you guys know that. But that wasn't that wasn't the issue at the time. The issue was the town of Newburgh.
It's that we're the one with the deepest pocket.
We're going to be the ones that pay the consequences
Right.
when we decided we can't do that. And Linda, you know as well as I do, the way meetings went for the 2 years I was on that board, they weren't the best of the best, the fire department, the town, everything else. That's an issue that needs to be fixed, yes. But it's not all the town's fault either. Everybody's got to work on it. It's going to happen.
I'd be happy to have a conversation with Glenn,
So,
but I'll be done.
my name is Chris Fox. I live
Yes,
over
Chris.
on Kennebec Road. I'm also on the rescue, but I'm speaking as a citizen of the town only. I'm just curious, because obviously this has been going on for a very long time.
Yes.
Right? And I've had conversations, Cindy's given me much of her time here in the office, trying to figure out what's going on, why this animosity exists. But it seems like it's, you know, the same people up here, or different people up here, but it's the same problem on this side of the table. But has anybody outside ever been brought in to sort of mediate this problem?
No,
No.
no. I mean, you could set up a mediation board, you could try to mediate something within the town, but, you know, it's just gotten to be, more than I want to lug around, honestly. I mean, if you could just feel the tone of the voices that we get trying to figure out, I mean, this postponement, like I said, was a big deal, and it was not necessary at all. It just wasn't necessary at all. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we could do otherwise. Scott?
Keep in mind, every time you do this, and every board that somebody wants to appoint to deal with this, somebody's gonna pay for it.
Right.
One thing in Newburgh, as a selectman, and granted, I was only here for 2 years, I lived in this town 10 years. I love this town, I can't wait to sell my house in Hampton and move back here. Once my kids are done school, that's where I'm coming. But to deal with the tax rate that Newburgh has, to have the people involved and have a decision made, without it being disgruntled residents coming in and saying something. When I became selectman, I got selectman, I think it was 128 votes in this town. We're pushing that in this room right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot more residents in this town. When it comes to the decision of the fire department and everything else, it's always a feud, because guess what? When I was selectman up there, sitting where Renee was, granted, I sat there with Claude, I sat there with Skip, I sat there with Buddy. In a short amount of time, when I did that, it was all about money in this town. The only people that were here was Glenn, was here to talk about his calls and everything else, and fixing fire hydrants and everything else, which we have grants for, and then we find out grants and permits and stuff sometimes don't jive, because we gave prices that were well within their means to fix their ponds, and all of a sudden there was some issues that my company did after I wasn't a selectman. You have to deal with these as a town and go, uh-oh, we got a problem. These people up here sitting here representing your town, the best of your money, my honest to God solution was 3 years ago when I was a selectman, your first year in, was up your taxes $4 a thousand. We'll have consultants come in, we'll have people take care of this. Whoa, 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 whoa. You mentioned $4 a thousand on Linda with tax rates. See what happens. I mean, that's what happens though. That's, if you want to be the town of Hampden, be prepared to pay for it. If you want to be the town of Newburgh, you guys have created milestones this year in this town. Milestones. How many dirt roads you guys driving on?
There's only one left. There's only one left.
Only because we're held up from a DEP
Right.
engineering permit that we're saying, let's pave the road, we'll deal with it next year. How was your plowing last year?
Right, fabulous.
Great.
Right.
You guys are all here to fight about what?
Right.
Your roads are plowed, you've got hot top roads. Hey, hey, fight about a little bit of money. There's no money missing. I was one of the last selectmen to leave this town. There's no money missing in this town. Me, Buddy, and Skip, and then when Renee took over, I still came in and bugged them.
Yeah.
There's no money missing in this town. Your roads are paved. Your roads were plowed last year. Plowed. Hey guys, plowed. That's a milestone in the town. For how many years were they not plowed? I lived there for 10 and they sucked. How many years, hey Linda, what's your call ratio from last winter to the winter before? Call ratio from accidents in the town of Newburgh.
I have no idea off the top of my head.
There's a Big difference. Granted, Brett wasn't here to babysit us and take care of us. He was busy in Florida, and I don't blame him. I'd take care of my dad too in Florida and not be here. Just on the same page, and I don't really like my father. I still would have been there. So, it's a major difference in this town. And we're all here to fight over this now.
And, you know, and he's got a good point. It's not just the 6 people that come to the meeting every week. We have to answer to all the other residents. That's my point.
I didn't see this many people at a town meeting.
I know.
When I was selectman. I did not see this many people at a town meeting when I was selectman in this town. And I support you all in your decisions. But you got more now than you ever had. Way more. And I understand there's some simple difficulties with some simple issues in town that should be addressed. I understand that. But you can't win them all. I mean, I support some of the decisions that should be addressed in this town. But geez, if you're gaining this much, this guy owns my old house. Was your road plowed this year? Well, guess what? When I used to leave that house and drive to Winterport, and I plowed down Winterport, I was never so glad to see the Perkins Road in Winterport, which was plowed. That's a secondary road. We plowed it every 3 hours. I was never so glad to see it plowed, because guess what? When I left my house, I plowed a foot of snow with my pickup to get there. I mean, come on. We're bitching and groaning about nothing around here. I was amazed when I pulled in this parking lot and saw this many people here. I've never in my life seen this many people in a selectmen's meeting in the town of Newburgh or a town meeting. A town meeting. I've seen Steve, I've seen Helen, I've seen Dwight, I've seen a few of you people here. Brian's been here prior to being a selectman at the town meeting. Other than that, most of you, dates Amanda's mother there.
Dates Amanda's
mother. That guy. Chris Shantz, here at a town meeting. This is a selectmen's meeting. Really?
Well,
this town is very fortunate to be what it is. I got a business in Winterport. I pay taxes. You guys want to pay my tax bill in Hamden? No. $12,000. My house is the size of yours, Linda's, and I got a swimming pool up back with a 3-bay garage next to it. It's not any bigger than Helen Mogan's either. I pay $12 grand a year in taxes.
Yay for you.
What do you guys, I mean, really, that's what's gonna come? Because somebody like me, or somebody like Renee, or somebody that's out to do it is gonna buy these lots for sale on the Chapman Road. We're gonna put kids in there. What's going to happen to Newburgh's taxes? Newburgh has never supported houses with kids in them and everything else to pay that tax bill. You're running out of people, and with the bad publicity we're putting out there, the only thing you're going to get is investors that are going, oh, I really don't care. I'm going to buy the land cheap. I'm going to build an apartment building there, and I'm going to stick 40 more kids in school. That's what you guys are facing. That's what you're up against. Somebody's gonna buy that land. We're already seeing it right down the road. Here's Skip's old house. Apartment, rented.
That's way of the world. Thank you, Scott. I just wanted you to know, though, that, you know, you sit up here and you do your best. And historically, I don't know what's gone on 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but somehow, some way, you got to let go of this hatefulness and move forward. Not just the fire department or the rescue department, but all of it. Just let go of it and move forward. You know, he mentioned our only dirt road left is the Dahlia Farm Road. The only reason we haven't paved the Dahlia Farm Road is because the DEP has decided that that stream on the Dahlia Farm Road is a salmon spawning stream. So we need to replace the culvert. Well, you can't replace the culvert with just a regular culvert. You've got to have a big concrete 3-sided open bottom box culvert. Those things are really expensive. Cindy got online and found a grant. $75,000 she has secured for us. $75,000 is a lot of money, you guys. And that's the only reason.
Cindy told a member of the fire department that it was not her job to get grants. It's not her job.
Thanks for the supportive voice, Kelly. Thanks for the support. That is exactly what I'm talking about. So I say something nice, they've got to say something and take it right in the other direction. Right in the other direction.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
This is the first town meeting that I've been to.
It's not even a town meeting, so you're in luck.
Okay, so I'm not even sure I'm in the right place. This is the first meeting that I've come to since living in Newburgh for, how long have I been here, 7 years? And I'm kind of sorry I came. This is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
She got that grant out of the goodness of her heart. It's not her job, but she went above and beyond her job and did it, and you're going to brag on her about it? I mean,
She
seriously.
was asked to help
Arguing
the fire
about
department
the
get
ambulance?
grants, and she told us she wouldn't do it because it's not part of her job.
I don't think that's...
Busy with the
Okay, wait, we'd like to hear, Cindy has something to say.
I have not said that I would not do fire grants for the fire. Chris Fox did an MMA grant,
Right.
brought it up, I looked it over, I signed it, sent it in. They wouldn't approve it. They sent it back, I fixed it, I sent it back in, they got the grant. AFG, American, whatever it is, it's a fire department grant. Last year, I came a week before it was due. Will you do this for us? I did the best I could. I told them I was not confident, that I didn't have enough time. Sent it in, no word. I said, but next year, let me know ahead of time. So I kept my ear out. I found out via Facebook from a message that the course that you have to take in order to qualify for this grant, because of a friend of a firefighter, local, I got a message on Facebook that explained that the class, the first question they ask you on grant application is, did you attend the required training? No, I didn't. The year before, when I got to that question, did anybody attend? Yes, I did. So I was covered. The next year, you have to do it every year. The class was over, so I made a phone call. I asked, did anybody go to the class? Well, no, I couldn't go, I had to work, but so-and-so from the next town did, and he's gonna get me the paperwork. That does not qualify us. So I proceeded. I was a little upset because it would have helped me understand the grant, but there is a questionnaire, a website you go to. I went on the website when the grant became available. I came up with a list of things that I needed to proceed with this AFG grant. I still to this day have not got that list of items that I needed to proceed with that grant. So no, I did not do a grant for the fire department.
What about the 3 years the forestry grant wasn't done?
You want to talk about the forestry grant?
No, I
I
just want
didn't
to know what
apply for the
happened.
forestry grant, Linda, last year, because the year before, when I called and inquired about that forestry grant, I explained, the man that I spoke to said, so you're telling me they got it in 2011 and didn't finish it? The application says it was a project to repair and replace the town of Newburgh's dry hydrant system, that it was working
Here
at
we go.
25% at that time.
That's right.
there.
Let me finish. I gave that man my word that year, 2 years ago,
Yep.
that we were raising money and we would make sure that that grant was fulfilled. I tried. All I got was no response. Nobody came to me, nobody said a word. For the last 3 or 4 months, little digs and letters about me not applying for that grant. So I've given up on the hydrants. I called the Forestry Service and told them, I'm sorry, but I could not keep my word and fulfill that grant. Do what you have to.
And then I'll take it from there. Last fall, Glenn came in and said he was going to have somebody come in and dig out the fire pond on Route 9 and put a new dry hydrant in, or a floating dry hydrant. That was great. We said great. He said he had a friend that was going to come do it. Fine. You're digging beside the Route 9, under the power lines. I said, and I'll admit I initiated this, I said, give us 3 things. Give me a dig safe number, because it's the law. You gotta call dig safe. I'd like to see an insurance certificate from the guy who's coming in to do it free of charge, because you're under power lines, you're on the side of the road, it's ultimately our liability. And lastly, if it gets to be more than what he bargained for, have him give us a per hour price. Just, if I go over 4 hours, I need to recover some of my costs, I have to charge you $150 an hour. I asked for those 3 things, and they stopped dead in their tracks. We never got a dig safe number, we never got anything else from it. They stopped dead in their tracks. Scott?
It was the same thing 2 years prior to. We're gonna fix these dry hydrants, they had all the parts, they had everything given to them under a grant. They were gonna fix them all. Kendall Davis was gonna take care of it. Never did. We took care of the drain out back of the fire hydrant, Kendall did, and
Right.
put some stone out back there and everything else, took care of that. We never fixed the dry hydrants. We've had this grant for 5 years
Yeah.
in this town. It never got done.
No, we don't.
We offered, as a selectman in this town, offered my company to donate digging them up and fixing them, and it was unacceptable. It was unacceptable. Yes, that's when you got shut down, Dwight, and you left. You were sitting here in the meeting and you got right up and left, because, what's his name there, the fire chief, Glenn, shut you right down, and you got up and walked out the door because you were working on trying to fix the dry hydrant. You got right up and walked out. I was sitting right there in that chair where Renee's sitting right now. That's how it ended up.
This is what I want you all to know. This
I
is,
had a question in the first place, and it never got answered. Can we go back? Number one, he's a non-resident, so he's not supposed
well, he
to
was a
be
former
permission.
selectman.
Number two, that grant was for the equipment. It was for different, it was not to complete the grant, it was for different items. The money came out of our auxiliary fund to complete. We paid for it. It wasn't to complete the project, it was to complete buying, and I did the paperwork, sent them in,
Do you have any of that paperwork?
I do. You want me to read it?
I'd like Cindy.
$5,000 on the items. The money that we received in a grant was, I think, $25 or $26.
We're not talking about the money, we're talking
No,
about
we're
fixing the
talking
dry
about
hydrant.
the money that they gave us. They granted us $2,500. We matched it, bought material.
I get it.
That was what.
I know all about it, Linda. I've been here. Let's let Cindy read what she's got in front of her.
That's for a project.
This project is to install, repair, and rebuild our dry hydrant water system in Newburgh. The status of our dry hydrant at this time is about 25% in working condition. We have not had the funding to install or repair this system. The grant will allow us to update this project, water for fire suppression in our town as well as mutual aid communities, and is supplies mostly by our dry hydrant system.
Cindy,
And
you're reading
We're-
the grant application?
I am.
Okay.
The hydrants were what they gave us the money for.
I want to bring this,
Paid for it.
I want to bring this back to where it should be,
Yeah.
which is,
I'm sure you did.
we're done with that. This is why my resignation is on the table, and it's going forward.
And to put it in perspective too, for her, for me, when she was elected selectman, nobody ran. She was a write-in, and she agreed to do this job.
Same
The
with
last
you.
election, nobody ran. Somebody wrote me in, and I'm gonna be looking for them. I agreed to do this to help these guys.
Right. It's not, I don't want to sit up here and argue with the fire department. I don't. What this job is supposed to be is to protect the assets and the interests of the whole town of Newburgh, not just the fire department. I'm not supposed to just take care of the fire department or just take care of the rescue department. I mean, that's all we have. You know what we have? We have a really nice library, and Gary never wants anything. He wants some volunteers. He could use some volunteers. And I don't know how to get you all there. I just don't know how to get you all there. Go ahead.
Get back around.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's, again, this seems to be the same problem. I've heard this fire hydrant thing multiple times. It seems it's the same back and forth, so I think, and I understand Scott's point that it's gonna cost money. But you have the same group of people doing the fire department. Nobody else seems to want to join. Again, I'm not on the fire department, so, and I'm only speaking for myself. Nobody seems else to want to join. You know, except every once in a while here and there. But it's the same core of people, which seems to be having the same problem with whoever sits up.
Whoever sits up here,
Right.
not just us.
So it seems like an outside body, an outside mediator really is called for at this time, unless the other option is just closing the fire department.
Well, that's quite a statement right there. I mean, that would be.
You could hold on to that statement, Renee, excuse me for butting in. Hold on to that statement as a selectman in this town, woman. You decide to close the fire department.
Well, that
Dwight's or somebody's house is burns.
right. That affects.
On Monday morning, you're the one on the hook for it because you closed the fire department.
I'm certainly not
Okay, we went
advocating
through
for
that.
closing the fire department, but I'm,
Lauren, I don't
There's-
think Renee is making the decision whether or not to close the fire department. She's stating that if this were to be
But it's a
an ongoing
liability
issue, then
statement.
the town
Right.
needs to make that.
It's, honestly, it would help if the fire department were a municipal department. It's just administrative stuff, mostly. I mean, we got a tank problem up there. I'm going there. The DEP has called because there's a tank buried under, one or two tanks, one? One or two tanks is buried under the new addition. And someone had DEP call. So guess who's, there's two entities here. The Newburgh Volunteer Fire Department, which is a private corporation, and the Newburgh Fire Department. Am I correct in this?
What?
Each department has a chief, is appointed chief.
No. You approved it, the way it has always been, the town at town meeting approved the Newburgh Volunteer Fire Chief as the fire chief for the town of
Okay,
Newburgh.
okay, so
there's only one
but
Newburgh Volunteer Fire.
my point is there's two entities,
But the real estate's owned by the town.
but the real estate's owned by the town. So when something goes down, an insurance claim, an accident, a DEP information, they're not contacting Newburgh Volunteer Fire Department, a private corporation. They are contacting the town of Newburgh. They're contacting Cindy. They're not calling Glenn. They're calling Cindy because she's ultimately responsible for what goes down.
And it's not just me, it's been people in the past that have held this seat.
Craig, go
I
ahead.
mean, every town manager has had this issue.
I'm sorry, I called you Craig.
I'd like to see it,
Dwight.
I'd like to say it changed. Instead of saying the Newburgh Fire Department, why don't you say the administration of the fire department?
Yeah, just,
Because there's a lot of
Not
us,
the
a lot of us
volunteers.
people here that work their ass off.
absolutely, absolutely.
So it's saying that, the way you're saying it makes it feel like you're talking about us, the firefighters.
No.
And it's not
And
us.
no, it is not you guys.
Please make the statement of administration.
I will correct that immediately, thank you. It's the administration, it totally is the administration of the department. And if you guys were a municipal department, how would it change your lives? It wouldn't change your lives. As a matter of fact, it may, whoever takes the chief's position, it would make their life easier, I think. I mean, Cindy could maintain all the files, she could maintain all the information, or Cindy, or whoever that town manager is. You know, it's just,
50 years I've been in this fire service, and I've never, in the towns I've been in, never seen anything like this. Never. In 50 years.
it's such an, it's this all the time. And, you know, like I said,
How many times have we asked, and how many times have I sat here, and some of you have too, Glenn has asked to talk to the Selectmen, the Board of Selectmen, to discuss with them, and it's been said, no, you can't do it. We can go
discuss
into
what with it.
executive
We
session.
went into executive session with Glenn.
Yes, you go into executive session with the town manager
No,
there.
they
You
were
will
in all
not-
by themselves.
We were in all by ourselves, that's
I was
true.
not there.
That is the way it is.
It doesn't
And
matter,
when the
because I can't
assistant chief
discuss
has
what,
asked- When the assistant chief is asking, I go in with you, and we sit down and talk about these things. How many times have you said no? How many times?
One time, because you cannot go into an executive session for a personnel matter with other people. You know. I'm not going to tell you that we haven't reached out to Glenn. I've reached out to Glenn personally. I literally said to Glenn, wouldn't you like to be the fire chief that took your department further into the welcome into the next century, folks? You know, wouldn't you like to be that guy? Wouldn't you like to have your firefighters have beautiful new offices here, maybe a new building down there? Wouldn't you like to have that happen?
How many millions and billions of dollars is that going to
Oh,
cost
for
us?
heaven's sakes, a 60 by 50 garage, Linda.
How many did it cost them? $400,000.
Town of, so,
Linda, you
that's,
don't pay for the building.
right, you're digressing. You're digressing.
Taxpayers have to pay for that.
That's my problem, I'm a
You're gonna ruin
taxpayer.
Awakening, you're gonna pay for that $52 million school, or you're gonna pay for a new fire department, one or the other.
We're gonna pay for the roads when we try to build a new firehouse.
The roads are simple, that's what you're saying, budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead,
Back
Cindy.
on the tanks.
Yeah, back on the tanks.
There has been a mindset in it, and it's way before I was here, that in the process of doing things, people just doing them and not going out, reaching out to the proper places and people to get permission. One of those is those tanks, 2 years ago buried under that addition, which is now gonna come back and bite the taxpayers in this town to the tune of between $50,000 and $100,000 to fix it.
Can we just do a tank inspection over here?
The tanks have never been registered.
You don't
You can't bury them.
tanks without going to the DEP and saying, this is what I wanna do, can I do it, and what permits do I need? If these tanks, and I don't know, I haven't had time to ask, if these tanks are plastic, they could be
They are
emitting
plastic.
MTB, whatever,
Fiberglass.
into,
Fiberglass,
okay.
reinforced.
Based on the paperwork that I have, we have to find out what's in them, water, we have to test them to see if there's been anything in them in the past that shouldn't have been, and have them tested. If that's the case, we have to have it. What's in them pumped out, hauled off, and disposed of properly. And if any of you know anything about this, it's gonna cost a lot of money. Once they're pumped out and found no contamination, then we're more than likely gonna have to cut the middle out of that lovely new floor down there and fill these tanks with either sand or flowable fill. And they have to be registered with the DEP and legally abandoned. That's what happens when you don't ask the proper people the right stuff.
And again, this is all has nothing to do with this current board. Were you town manager?
Nope.
Nope. So, we've digressed a little bit here. I wasn't.
Then how do you know that permission wasn't given by the previous board?
It doesn't matter about the board.
It doesn't.
The proper procedures were not taken with the proper authorities at that time.
Right. Scott.
I'll give you guys a public comment on that. Why don't you look at the board you guys are looking at coming up here in the future? They're the ones that would have approved it. The prior town manager who's gone would have been the one that approved it. That's who you guys are looking at for your future board of selectmen. Because I come on after them. And guess what? When they said O'Donnell's Concrete donated and poured over that, I sat there with Bud Belcher and myself and threw one hell of a fit that we had poured concrete over tanks that nobody knew nothing about. Because there was nothing in the prior minutes, there was nothing in the prior town stuff whatsoever about the tanks underneath the fire department.
And if you guys were overseeing the building, wouldn't you have been the guys to be looking
We didn't
at that?
oversee the building. It was already done when we took over. We had Serena Bemis Goodall, we had Craig Tootaker, we had Mr. Yonts, we had Claude. Mr. Steve Burgess, they were our selectmen board at the time, when that was all done.
I think it was the one before, the board before that.
Nope.
No, it was that
I was
board.
on the board when they built that. But I don't remember anybody asking me anything about that.
But we
I'll
could,
tell you what, when the board that I was on took over, you were by the book. Because if you weren't by the book in this town, you were in trouble.
Absolutely.
And the board that I was on that sat up there, just like the board that I left, and I sat up there with Buddy and Skip until the end. Granted, there were some mistakes made, I'm not gonna say there wasn't. But there was nothing made legally, nothing against the town of Newburgh, nothing that cost the town of Newburgh money. None of it. We cut so many things to not up your tax bills that it wasn't funny. I mean, we neglected our salt building over here and then across town it's falling down. We neglected the fire department, no joke. We did. We cut their stuff every year. They were the first on the list to get cut. We had a list of things we cut, no different than these guys are gonna have 1 year, another month, 2 months. When their 18 months come up with this whole thing, you got things you gotta cut. Things gotta work. Cause guess what? You up the tax bill in Newburgh, things are gonna cost. Whoa, you get this.
Brian, did you want to speak?
No, I think enough's been said.
yeah.
It's, everybody can see what the whole town faces. I'm the new kid on the block. I haven't, my experience has been sitting out there, listening and watching, and it's been the same old thing. I'm extremely concerned about how to mend bridges. In fact, I'm not sure it can be mended the way it is now, but it's a shame. I hate to see selectmen run out of town. I hate to see our staff harassed. And if you look over the past 6 years, the number of people that have left their positions for less than, I think, ethical relationships, it's sad. And this is a nice little community, it's small. We ought to be able to do better than this.
We ought to be. You're completely right. Completely right. Our staff on our counters have been harassed. I just don't know where else to go with this. Jim, did you? Sorry.
As a former selectman also, and a resident, the one thing I noticed about the back and forth, and it went on when I was sitting up there, and I sat in that same chair too.
Oh, thanks. This is a popular spot.
The fact that I told you outside, I asked you to do this, I
Right.
said this, nothing is ever documented, nothing is, it's just a bunch of hearsay,
Exactly.
it's your word against mine, and that causes problems. And it's been like that forever.
Right. This is the forum.
Right.
If you want to discuss something, this is the forum, not my house. I don't want to be at your house, I don't want you at my house. If Glenn wants to discuss something, this is the forum. We'd love to see Glenn, that's the first time I've seen him since April. This is the forum. It's no more, this is not 1973, we're not doing it off the cuff. This is the forum.
You're not working from your house.
I'm not working from my house, right. And Cindy.
So what happens now, Renee, if you resign, Buddy Belcher's resigned, that leaves just one select person?
Well, we have an election next week on August 9th, and
Is Skip Smith going to, he's the only one that took papers out, is that correct?
He's the only one that, and he did it last minute, he waited for somebody to step up, and
So he's had health issues, so has he made any indication to any of you as to whether he's still going to be able to take that position?
I talked to him today, and he's fine, he said.
He's fine.
And
He's
Renee,
fine.
you're going to stay until a new select person is voted in?
I will probably stay until after the
I
election.
keep begging them to stay for a lot longer than that. Because you're not gonna get select people in this town the way things are going.
Skip Smith is fine
Yeah.
He's in the hospital with a broken hip.
No, he's not, he's home. He's at home.
He's home.
with a broken hip.
Yep, I saw him. He's actually in great spirits. So that's good news. Thank you for letting us know that.
But we should finish, do you want to finish the agenda?
I want to say, the reason I asked the questions and I said the things I did is because this is, like you said, this is the forum that needs to be discussed in, and everybody needs to get the same thing at the same time.
It's a give and take, Kelly. You could compromise. If we're going to compromise, you could compromise.
That's why I'm asking the questions here.
That's fine.
If the
Yes.
questions are being asked and the statements are being made, if everybody could say them civilly, instead of yelling, getting mad, and having an attitude, that would change the entire meeting, every time. And if everybody else made people who did that accountable, then that would help. So we all need to keep coming.
Right. Very good. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I just wanted to remind you all, too, I know there's a beautiful Saturday, August 20th coming up, but it's also the second half of the town meeting. So if you, and I'll just say this, and I'm not going to be henny penny, the sky is falling, but we had the town meeting, they postponed all of it because they want, I don't know, I understand that you guys want numbers. I get it. I don't have any problem with it. Chris and Helen and Lois are really were here when we were discussing it, which is fine. You want numbers. But it was hard to compare an 18-month cycle to a 12-month cycle. So that's why, just so you all know, that's why the 2014 budget was in the book. So you could compare it to the 2016-17 fiscal year, because one 12-month cycle is similar to another 12-month cycle. It's irrelevant to really compare it to the 18-month cycle because it's never going to be that again. Never going back that. We just did it for that fiscal year change.
Besides the fact that the year hadn't ended yet.
And the year hadn't ended yet. So next year we had a discussion about this.
I've spoke to the auditor. We're going to try to set town meeting so that the audit is there. I don't know what she's going to say. The reason that we did it to begin with was to take away that restriction that's always been there, that doesn't need to be there anymore for a time frame from the end of the year to town meeting. It's really restrictive on this year. I rushed to get stuff ready. I wasn't real comfortable in the way it went because I didn't have time to sit and look at stuff before I handed it to the auditor and look stuff over. Not that anything was wrong, and just the rush part kind of, yeah. But I am talking to her to try to see if next year, if we can do something to do that.
We were talking about maybe pulling out a draft. Well, we could do we could close the end of the year.
I could put our records, our expense and revenue
Right.
reports with a disclaimer that says that these are the numbers as of the end of the year, but they're subject to change per the audit.
Right. And then, because trying to have a town meeting on a beautiful Saturday in July is probably not going to draw a crowd. So you guys can think about this and let us know. We thought about doing it on like a Tuesday night, and if it gets too late, we could continue it to a Thursday night or, something like that. Do it during the week. Is that
What's the matter with Saturday?
a lot of people aren't home on Saturdays in the summertime.
That happens to be Hampton's Children's Day, too.
It's Hampton's Children's Day, August 20th. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So anybody in the town that has children will be there.
Right.
No, just come to Newburgh Day in September instead.
Jim, I'd love to hear from you.
I've lived here now for 48 years,
Yes.
and surely had our disagreements over those years, but it never really came home until we had a bad apple in the barrel.
Yes.
And I think I was prepared, and I still am prepared to understand that In some cases, one bad apple does not contaminate the barrel. I don't think it did. There are those who thought so. That's where it started. And like you, I don't know how to fix it. I'm here because I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people trying to do their best and being called and threatened and ultimately leaving. They're started with a very well-respected town clerk. Lois, a few years ago, she couldn't take it. Others haven't been able to take it. Right now, I can't wait to leave. And it requires, I've been reluctant to speak up because you can't fix this thing talking, you have to fix it listening. Until we have people that are willing to listen, we're not going to fix it. Okay?
Okay. Malcolm?
My comment is that I came here to support the Selectmen. I think we all did, and we will continue. I will continue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, well, I think that's enough said. You will want to finish the agenda?
It's almost 7 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, we might as well. So the culvert grant on the Dahlia Farm Road, this does include you. Can you, do you want to pave?
I think the best bet is, I mean, you're talking a 40-foot patch
Okay,
in the road. If you guys want us, basically the way asphalt and fuel and stuff is heading in the near future, I don't care either way, you can stop short or whatever, but I'd pave the road before, I mean, our contract that we signed with the town has an escalator in it. I'd pave it before this year's over with. If you saw cut it out, change the culvert. We've already given Cindy a price for the culvert for next year. If it works, we'll honor our price. We'll pave the road back in. If you choose to put it out to bid, you'll have to deal with that at that time.
okay,
But we'll change the culvert for our same price. We got a price from an engineer and everything, the same place that the Army Corps is going to. You know, their stuff.
right, right.
As either we can stop short of the culvert or we can pave over it and we'll,
I say get it done.
listen to people talk. If we change the culvert next year, we're eating the 40-foot patch.
Right.
If you guys hire somebody else, they're gonna have to eat the 40-foot patch.
Did you find out if we can
Yeah.
keep the grant?
Yes, we're not gonna lose the grant money. There was a time frame.
And we
the
checked
time frame,
into it, it was them holding you off, so,
the DEP, or IF&W, federal
Yeah.
IF&W, will only allow us to do this from July through August.
so you keep the grant until next year was the
We
way.
keep the grant till we get it done.
Right,
But the time constraints that were associated, I thought had to do with the money. It's not with the money.
Nope.
It's with the work.
Okay,
The work can only be done in that time frame.
okay,
And we're
so,
running out of time this year. We're
Right.
not gonna get our permits in time to get it done this year. So the solution, because we can't expect him, hold off a year to pave that
Right.
road next year and expect him to do it for the same price. If we
Right.
pave it now and then just piece in that piece, I think people will be happy.
it was $2,100 worth of hot top.
okay,
Yeah.
all
So
right.
we figured we'd pave the road, binder it, surface it, be done with it, and then next year.
Do you need a vote from us to
I
say,
just need an okay for
I think-
him to do it this way.
I say finish the road work on there, whatever that road work was that we were gonna do,
Because
and,
we have an existing other deal on that.
Right.
road.
Yeah, the
Okay, that we
ditches.
had with, I believe, that was prior.
yeah, I say go for it and get it done, yep, yep.
And we got one more thing on roads, and I'm out of here. I'm gonna leave all you Newburgh people alone.
Okay.
Not you guys all, I swear. But, plowing,
Yes,
just making sure there's no issues. I understand there's been some animosity here. We're a little bit outside our date. But
Of the
July is
sausage.
my month. If somebody has a problem, speak up, because I'll quit now.
What's he talking about?
I don't know, what are you,
If anybody has any problem with his contract, there's a clause in his contract that,
I
oh,
can be done in July.
oh.
I'm a few days over it. The meeting got extended. Is everybody else up with the roads getting plowed the way they are?
Yep.
Because I'll stay.
It'd be good if you go a little further down on the Thurlow.
Right.
We can work a cash deal on it.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I've enjoyed working out here to see the improvement from when I lived in this town on the roads. And when I drove out and checked, because I hated to plow the roads, so I drove out and checked when I didn't want to do it, just to make sure Newburgh's roads are plowed. But if there's an issue, I'd just soon be done and you guys can have Kim back or whoever and save some money.
I have an issue. Are you putting up salt and sand yet?
Not yet, but we're supposed to have the way our thing reads, we're supposed to wait for the budget to be approved.
Yeehaw.
So I will gladly, if they choose and tell me to do it prior to you guys approving the budget, that's up to the townspeople. I'll do it and I'll trust you guys to pay me, but I'm in no hurry or no crisis, but the sooner the better.
Well, stay in touch with Cindy because we did do a little budget thing here. I think, hopefully, like I said, thank God we have a fund balance. I said this earlier, I don't know if you were here. I
Well, you
said,
saved a bunch of money on sand this year.
I thank goodness Buddy was diligent about keeping our fund balance up.
Crazily.
Yeah, crazily, because we would make 2 school payments and be done.
Yeah, no, he saved some serious money.
So, I'll let you two coordinate
Yeah, so we'll
on
do it
sand
sand,
salt.
I would like
It's
to
nice
put,
and dry, I'd love to have it in there.
no, we'd love to put it up
Well,
too.
I'll
I
give you
mean,
my
when the
own
time
unit.
comes, I mean, last year we did it, I think it was November by the time things got ironed out, so.
Right.
We're on board either way, but I understood there was some concern for townspeople, and I just would think I did a better job than Kendall Davis, I hope. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do the best I can do for you guys, I mean, if not, just call, I mean, you know, people have no problem complaining, trust me, in this
Okay.
town especially.
Thank you, Scott.
Hey, I'm gonna pave the W Farm Road,
Yes,
fix the ditches, plow the
Yes.
roads this winter.
yes.
You guys are on your own, I'll see you this spring.
Thank you very much.
Hey guys, just remember, it's Newburgh. We've already been there, you only got so many more people left that are gonna do this. Calm down. I was one of those people at that time that sat up there that would shrink to do this. Renee's gonna quit now by the sounds of it. Now, that's not a good thing, guys.
Did one of us 3 people ever yell at you, the 3 that sat here all the
Well,
time?
no, well, that's the problem, Melinda. There was only 3 people here all the time. I pulled in tonight and I was like, there's a posse here about the plowing contract. I was worried, a little worried. I mean, there's only 3. I went to the town meeting 2 years in a row. I Skyped in because I was in Florida, because guess what?
Yeah, you were in Florida.
I was in Florida and guess what? None of the residents showed up either. So there was 10 people here, 12 people here. Why all the interest now? Your budget's good, guaranteed, trust me. In this town, after the last mess, everything's good. There's some concerns out there that some residents have, I agree, they're concerned.
And that's okay.
Don't overexcite them about the budget and the town to make the town, you know, we've already, and I say we because I can't wait to move back to Newburgh. I love to
I
start
don't
Newburgh.
want you here, so don't bother me.
I'm coming back, I'm gonna run for selectman first thing when I get back.
I got a place for sale.
Right, don't worry about the budget, I'll trade you Foster after your house, we're in. But no, I mean, don't worry about the money, everybody in this town from years ago have watched the money in this town. The money in this town is going nowhere. It can't. It's not part, and I said can't on public record, but it's not publicly correct, but it's not going anywhere. There's too many people watching it. Buddy Belcher made sure 1 red cent. I mean, he was selectman, I was there, and Skip was there, and we calculated and added, there's no way. It's not happening. You guys have got a good board of selectmen right now. You need 1 more person. Don't push Renee out too. You got Brian, you got Renee. Don't push. The Newburgh doesn't have to make the paper next week saying they're down to 1 selectman as Brian
Yeah,
Corliss. Because you know what's
please.
going to happen? Brian's gonna walk in and go,
Yeah.
I'm not selling somebody, no, I'm not going, sorry. I'm sorry. But he's gonna walk in and say, I'm not selling so many pizzas this week, I'm out of here. I'm done, I can't handle it. And that's what happens though, you publicly discriminate people. That's what happens. And it's happening right now. I mean, these people, my hat's off to them. Because I got up and walked out an hour ago.
Bye. Bye.
Helen, did you get papers?
Bye. No, bye.
Right, that's what I'm talking.
Let's go.
Thank you, Scott.
Love you guys.
Thank you. Okay, so that's done. You're gonna pave and fix the ditches.
Yep.
Budget spending concerns. We have a summary of proposed costs, July through October, and the total, do you want me to just go there? Well, some of these things, the county tax, can the county tax wait until November?
Interest starts November 1st.
Interest starts November 1st, so if we paid it October, thank you, Jim.
Very last thing.
The very last thing, so that's, we've got a little leeway with Scott on the sand and the first payment on the plow contract.
Yep.
But this total comes to $765,350 for 4 months, excuse me. And we had an initial figure of $705 that we could spend. But any recommendations that you want to enlighten us on here?
I just kind of hold my breath to the 20th and they pass the budget and then, you know,
Right. The problem is, you guys, we have to accept a budget so we can set the mill rate, so we can send out tax bills, so we can generate revenue. We can't do any of that unless somebody votes for the budget. That's basically how that rolls.
And I can tell you, on a daily basis, I'm getting anywhere from 10 to 15 calls from mortgage companies because our bills are usually out by now. And these escrow companies are going, I need my taxes, I need my taxes. They got these people's money that they're holding that they need to pay the town, and they don't understand why it's still in their account.
Right. So, like I said, if you're not doing anything on the beautiful Saturday of August 20th, please go vote for the budget. Policies. I have to be honest, I did not read this yet.
Well,
did you?
Well, yes, I did, but I'd like to table that for a little while because there's a couple of things that looks like it needs to be addressed.
Okay, you make a motion and I'll
Move to table the policy booklet review until the next selectmen's meeting.
I'll second that. All in favor? 2-0. Okay, 2-0. The driver's list and background checks update.
I told you last time that I gave you mine, and Gary Prescott. I have Amy's and Gary's, not Gary, Amy and who's the code enforcement officer?
Jackie.
Jackie.
Jackie Robbins.
I have the application signed. I haven't had time to get on the computer and put them in.
Okay.
I've had no response on the driver's list or any of the background checks from the
Okay.
fire department or rescue.
All right. Just so everybody knows, we were just asking for a driver's list. If you work for a company and you drive their vehicles, your name gets put on, I mean, I do it on with my company. We have a driver's list. Every year you turn that into your insurance company with their license numbers, and they run your license just to make sure that you're all set. So currently there is no driver's list for the fire department. And some people are firefighters, and some people are drivers, and some people are both, and some people are one or the other. So,
One of the things that has come up about the background checks about who should and shouldn't have them, something that was brought to my attention that I didn't realize. Anybody that works with children is required by law. So for the fire alarm testing, whoever should come from the fire department, no designee. So that's another reason why everybody should have one.
Okay. Yeah, Kelly's had her hand up behind her. Just a second.
So,
Yes.
a couple things. One, I have no problem with background checks. I believe that they should be done. My only concern and my only question is, why do you need a financial check? I'm sorry.
You probably don't. She mentioned that. I
Let
said,
I cross that out online.
You
like I
can
said.
note on it. and
Put
just
not
say,
applicable.
just a General background check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no, like I said, I have no
That's
problem with
fine.
background check. That is perfectly fine. I would like to mention though, as a licensed EMT, the state did background check on me to get my license. So just FYI,
Okay.
I've been checked.
Okay.
And so has Chris, and so has anybody with a license on their service.
okay.
Okay.
That was my question, Renee, about
Oh, the,
financial.
yeah, that's,
All you have
we
to
don't
do is
need
just
that.
note a general background check
Yeah.
only.
Yeah, we don't need that.
That was a standard form that was here that's been being used. It was one that was on file.
Okay, all right. You all set with that?
Yes.
Mowed side rowing. Mowed side rowing. Mowing roadside, sorry guys. I didn't even, you probably couldn't do that again if I had to.
The gentleman that did it last year still has not come back to me.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna move forward with the other name that I had, a gentleman from Winniport.
okay.
Other than that, I haven't had time to inquire with
'Cause-
any other towns as
Yeah.
they knew anybody.
Okay,
So
all right.
I
Okay.
will get on it, but I'm kinda,
Oh,
can we hold off on that? Do we wanna hold off until after the budget? Cause that's, I mean.
you know
it's
what,
just
I would ask him how much it would be, get a number in, and then just as soon as the ball drops, I mean, it's either yay or nay by the
Yeah.
end of day Saturday. Yes, Steve?
Yeah, the town manager, when I called up to find out what the story was on mowing the lawn, said that the selectmen don't want the roads mowed because it'll damage the new hot top. Is there any truth to that?
Originally, that's what the concern was.
We
Because
called-
back when we first paved and did the shoulders was when it came about. And that's why last meeting I
Yeah.
brought it back to you. He had called, that was the last I knew, so.
We
that's
did
what
call
I
and
told-
ask Scott what his opinion was, because he paved the roads. And he said after that, now that they had set for a
As
while,
long as they know that their shoulders should be fine.
okay, so. Yes,
The roadside mowing is getting dangerous.
Dangerous.
I run on the Chapman Road and
Yeah.
it's very difficult.
It should-
And right
yeah.
here on 9, if you're turning left onto Chapman, they're so high on the right-hand side of Route 9 that they're blocking your view because of the way that corner is. So
I wish,
you can't
we'd like to get it done like the end of June is when I think it should be like done the end of June, 1st of
Yeah.
July. Yes, Helen?
Yes, both the end of the Chapman Road stop sign, both ends, up so high over them, you can't see.
I couldn't hear the name of the road again?
Chapley Farm Road.
Chapley Farm Road.
Both the Kennebec end and Littlefield end,
Okay,
the brush is over them, the grass, so you gotta get right to them.
Okay.
Over there.
all right. So,
I'll
yeah,
try to
yeah.
get
So
ahold
let's,
of-
yeah, let's get on
There's
that.
already been deer killed on that.
Chapman Road, yes.
Yeah. That is it. That's it, is it?
One more thing on the budget that I forgot. You got this report.
Yes.
This is to date, what has been spent from appropriations. The warrants that you just signed.
Are included in this?
So, that's 114,661.38.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes, Helen?
That's the appropriations money?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Renee, I'm a little concerned, I'm also, being a prior selectman, very concerned that even if our budget does pass August 20th, I think we're going to be finding it very strapped to get, because nobody's going to pay the taxes totally around here till the end of November when they finally do. I think we're going to be very financially strapped to come up with $112 million. $1,112 between now
Right.
and the end of November. We have to pay our bills, and that's what we got to have to pay them.
Well, I said that same thing to Cindy. Usually the taxes start rolling in within?
I also was concerned about that. One of the things that I questioned, the auditor has come back and our fund balance right now is a little over $1 million.
So we may make it.
We may make it. We have taken
It's close.
Is there-
we've taken in with state revenues coming in, I believe it's homestead, veterans, the other half of last year's, right around close to $50,000. And
It's gonna be close.
the reason the fund balance, just to let you know, has escalated is, we severely underestimated our revenues last year. $107,000 over and above what we estimated to go towards taxes, just in revenues dumped in the fund balance. So,
Do we have any option with our articles to change the due date on the tax bills? If they went out September
they
1st,
can revisit the article and
Could-
change the date, yeah.
could we make them due by like October 31st?
Can
So
do
that we
whatever
could,
the- Based on what the MMA, as far as revisiting articles, I believe what they said is.
I would like to
Eric
make,
would entertain, I believe, somebody that was there, that if they made a motion and the majority voted, to revisit some articles. There were
Right.
some that he questioned, but
I think for this article, he may revisit without a problem so that, because it's just a financial need for the town. See if the town select property taxes, equal payments due on November 30th and March 30th. If we could just make that October 30th and March 30th, and then you could change it back for the next year. I think that's,
I don't think you can push it ahead.
No, that's going the wrong direction.
I don't think you can push it ahead, Renee, but.
You don't think you can-
I don't think you can put it ahead to October once you've done it to November and March. I don't think you can push it back to October to make it due sooner.
I'm assuming it depends on the moderator and what he allows you to revisit with it.
What were the other articles that you were thinking of revisiting?
That was
the only one.
it, just to see if we could get tax bills due a month sooner, so we could get revenue coming in a month sooner. Because it will be close. It will be close.
It's very close.
And just
Earlier, a month earlier?
a month earlier, yeah. Just for this year. Because everybody's first escrow payment, I mean, usually tax bills are out in July, and everybody's escrows are already paying out. So it's not going to affect the banks and that sort of thing. Can you check with MMA and see if we can do that? See if there's any problem with that? Because if there isn't a problem, I would think that we would want to do that. The last thing I just came across this, I've held on to it. This is that we said that the last audit came back, wonderful. This is a letter from Foster & Company LLP. There are auditors in Bucksport, or were our auditors. And the last paragraph, they're just saying that they're pleased to report that Foster & Company not only received a clean opinion, but there was no letter of comments attached to that opinion. Only very few audit firms in Maine received this best level distinction. Your auditors have received this unencumbered opinion for many years. We especially thank you and your staff, Cindy, for the quality of accounting work that you have consistently presented for us to audit. Without your hard work, your CPA firm would not likely be able to produce the quality of audit work that would be recognized as among the top level in the United States. Please do not hesitate to share this letter with your lenders, donors, grantors, or others who may rely on your financial statements. So I just wanted to say we weren't pulling that out of our hat. And that's a good thing, so. Okay.
Let the question go.
Oh.
I got one more question. Now that our fire chief has gone on us, is the assistant fire chief going to take over?
Well, we don't know that. If he was here, we might ask him, but he's not here. I don't know.
Please find out, 'cause
We'll-
I don't want to fire tonight, and I don't have anybody to take charge.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Renee,
Yes, Dwight.
he might have quit as a fire chief for the town, but as far as we're concerned, he's still the fire chief of the fire department,
Okay,
okay? Because we have to vote him out.
right.
So he's still our fire chief as the fire department goes. Unless, unless he opts out and that when he quit both, so I don't know.
This is an ongoing, I'm sure it's going to be an ongoing thing.
I don't want to start it up again, I just wanted to
Yeah,
ask a simple
yeah.
question, are we covered?
Okay.
You got the guys covered, whether the chief is there or not.
Yeah, you-
He's irrelevant, we all tell him that.
I know, I called you.
Okay, I think, yes,
I
Kelly.
do have 2 reports for you. Rescue, we have 8 calls in the month of July. And for rec, we are still going forward with with or without the budget thing. We do have some money still in our reserve fund. And we're gonna do some fundraising towards that, so we will get that covered.
Okay.
No matter what, we are having fireworks.
Okay.
So, but we figured out a few places.
If
to
it's,
cut, but
excuse me, if it's
Yes,
as
sir.
dry as it is,
Mhm.
will you still get permission to?
That
shoot?
is,
We have to ask the fire chief.
no, you don't, Mother, will you stop it? Oh my God, this is where I learned to rant from, I'm sorry. Okay, so. Will you stop?
As long as there's some equipment there, you're all right.
Yes, because with the fire department was, I was supposed to be at their meeting tonight asking them if they would come and help us out. So.
Okay.
We're gonna cut a few things and change a few things, and we're always looking for volunteers, folks, really. I'm not the volunteer recruiter, as you can tell, I'm not that person, I'm the organizer. But we're still gonna have cafeterias. We are looking for somebody to do the barbecue. Our short rescue does not have enough people to pull it off this year, so if you know of an organization, or you know somebody in an organization who can do it, we've contacted some local club, we haven't heard back from them. I was also gonna ask the fire department tonight, and obviously I haven't heard back from them yet. So please, we had about 200 people there last year. We'd like to see it keep growing. It's a good way for anybody who has a business in Newburgh or locally who wants to promote themselves, Brian, Renee, to come and do that. Also,
Okay.
we're starting a paint night. That's going to start, going to be on the 3rd Thursday of every month here. It is $25 to participate in that.
A paint night?
A paint night. We can't do paint and sip because you can't have alcohol here, but we can do paint and cheese and crackers.
What's that consist of?
That's, yeah, paint night is
I'm
where
always thinking if I'm
somebody
painting.
comes in and she teaches you, she brings in an example of an artwork and then you get to do the artwork and she'll give you tips
all
and
right.
stuff like that.
Okay.
You'd be great at it, Dwight.
Body paint,
But
usually.
that one
I'll join.
we do have to charge for to cover the cost of the instructor and the cost of the paint, so. We are hoping to get in another hunters or archer safety this fall. We haven't quite scheduled that yet. We've got a trunk or treat scheduled for the 29th of October where people are invited to decorate your trunks.
Yeah.
And then you give out treats. It's during the day so that the younger kids can participate safely during the day. We'll have it right here. We may ask for a bag of returnables as your admission fee. And I think that covers everything. We've been very busy.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly. Kelly?
Adult ed
Yeah.
out of Hamden is bringing back Zumba.
Oh, good.
2 nights a week,
Oh.
Tuesday and Thursday, starting in November. I haven't got the specifics. And the girl contacted me, but when I get it, I will let
Okay.
everybody know.
Okay. All right.
She said.
She said,
Zumba's coming back. Zumba's coming back.
Zumba's coming back.
And there's still a stretch class going on.
They had a really good day today. A lot of people.
Okay, so thank you all for coming. Thank you. Good Lord, really? Okay, okay.
I would like to introduce, and he's going to kill me in a minute, this is the president of the Newburgh Volunteer Fire Department, Sean Ross, if you don't know him.
I know
I'm
him.
sure you know him, but I'm not sure whether
I
Brian
don't,
knows him.
no.
So,
Welcome.
Yes. Okay.
Good luck.
and this is the vice president.
I think,
Thank you. The vice president gets no recognition anymore.
it is 7:35. We are going to adjourn. Thank you all very much.